Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Football Abrazo podcast. I'm Brooks. I'm here with my man. I'm Blaine. I'm here with my man Brooks, and today we got another episode coming at you live from Barcelona/Salt Lake City. Brooks, let's not beat around the bush. Okay, first things first. Clubs in London were up to big business last week, and fresh off of a January transfer window, one club spent one really big. One club spent pretty small. Both teams got some transfers in. Friday night game, London Derby, West London Derby, Fulham and Stamford playing Chelsea. Blockbuster January transfer window. We could only draw 0-0. We still can't score goals. I just got to, I don't know what to say. The team needs time.
Yes.
This is realistically, okay, no joking. Enzo Fernandez looked just as good as you would have expected him to look. I feel like that was a good takeaway.
That's a big takeaway.
On the other, yes, he looked great. He looked fantastic. He had a couple bad passes that people might want to talk about, but overall, I would say he was fantastic. If he can play even a third of the way he played that game, considering he was basically he was so deep defending. He was like the third center back, but he would still get all the way to the other box. So I feel like if he could play like that, or even a third as good as that every game for the next 8 years, if he could consistently be that good or a third of that good for 8 years, he's a good signing. On the other hand, the Ukrainian boy, Mahalo Mudryk, he got subbed at halftime. Apparently, he was sick, so we can't say anything bad about him. He was sick. He still hasn't had a full run in. He was sick. Don't say anything about it. Last but not least, I thought the other kid from PSV, Nani Madueke, I thought he looked good. I would like to see him start next game. He looked good. I would like to see him start next game, and that's all I can really say. The rest, Fofana also looked good when he came on, and Badiashile, I guess he's played 3 games and he has 3 clean sheets.
Badiashile looks like he's been there with Thiago Silva for 5 years. That guy looks like he was ready to just come in and hold it down with Thiago. But so, yeah, I mean, Mikhail Mudryk, if you're not healthy, I don't know, it just didn't look good to pull off 45 minutes. I'm just don't start him then if he's sick enough to not play well and can get subbed off in the 45 minutes. You got 9 new signings. Okay, just put someone else in. You got a couple teams to work with there. But I just think that with that many players in that short of amount of time, they're just going to need some time to mesh. And we talked about this off camera. We've been texting about this. They just need some time to get together, to gel a little bit, to mesh. But that being said, Enzo, straight off the plane from that restaurant bar that they did his photo shoot in, it just took him right to Stamford Bridge, suited him up.
Straight to the tavern. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Have you been there?
It's so funny, dude. I have actually.
Because I'm going there next time. I've never been. I'm cool. Let me hit this place up next time.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched the game in there.
Oh, cool.
That way back, I can't say way back in the day, 10 years ago.
Is it owned by them?
Was in London. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the property.
Okay.
And I couldn't afford a ticket to the game.
But that place looks like it's not cheap to eat at.
Camera.
Hey, things have changed in 10 years for you, Blaine. Let's not.
I was fresh out of school, man. I was a kid. I sat in there. I watched the game. It was a good time.
That's cool. I would like that.
That's funny though. Yeah, exactly. Because you can hear the crowd roaring. Straight from the plane to the bar.
Okay.
But anyway, let's talk about this other thing real quick, and then we got to move on from Chelsea because we didn't talk to death about Chelsea.
Yeah, but I do have one question.
The last thing. Okay, then ask your question first, because it might be what I was going to say.
Well, I mean, it's about Aubameyang because he's the only man. He's the highest scorer in Champions League for them this season, and Graham Potter decided he's out. We don't need him in Champions League anymore. So, what do you make of that whole situation?
Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I was going to mention.
Okay, cool.
So
cool.
So first up, I feel like Chelsea isn't the only one, but Chelsea definitely does have a pattern of being disrespectful to their goal scorers. I feel like it's he has the most goals, and they're like, okay, but this guy could have more goals than him. It's but but he actually has more goals. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you look at like a player that you don't think is supposed to be performing, and you look at a player that is supposed to be performing, and it's like topsy-turvy. So it's like, well, this guy's, scoring. This guy looks like he should, but he's not. Do you want to win games? My money is always on you take the guy that's scoring goals. And it's like, yeah, well, he hasn't scored for however long. It's like he also hasn't played in Chelsea. Like we look like dog food.
No one can score on Chelsea's. It's not just Aubameyang. It's just like Chelsea's not scoring right now.
Well, and dude, now I didn't want to talk about this, and you brought it up, so now I'm pissed off. No striker has ever really thrived at Chelsea.
Yeah.
The only since Diego Costa, we have between Diego Costa and Tammy Abraham, that was the last time we had an established striker that was actually scoring goals on a consistent basis, and we blew it up with both of them. We sent Diego Costa packing for Alvaro Matas, and that was a dud. And Tammy. Yeah, and then Tammy Abraham, which I feel like is a little bit of a conspiracy. We sent him packing to Rome when he was our highest goal scorer to bring in some other people that we thought could do better. And, that didn't work out. Then they paid, for Romelu Lukaku. But that also coincided when we stopped playing. Well, not by our choice, but like our players got injured. Like Reece James, Ben Chilwell, that whole thing. I'm not going to go down that line again. The point I'm saying is, their Champions League selection, I believe they got it completely wrong.
Okay.
Felix isn't even in the squad.
Yeah.
I get it. He's good, and I want him to sign a full-term contract, but you can't have a guy on loan playing in the Champions League ahead of a permanent transfer unless you're thinking you want to get that guy full-time and you don't want to upset him by not letting him play. But if it were up to me, you keep Aubameyang in. You keep him in. Okay, we're playing Dortmund in a week or two, for crying out loud. You keep him in. You definitely keep Badiashile in. And I feel like you got to go with Enzo Fernandez. And the rest of them got to miss out. If that's what it is. And if you could sign a third one, I don't remember if you had to drop one, but you could only sign 3 new. But there was
3.
Still
you can add one more in your
squad.
You could say one more name.
Oh, well, in that case, yeah, bring in Mykhailo Mudryk.
Okay.
That would, if you bring in the defender that's actually defending, and then your midfielder that you broke the bank for, and then your winger that you also broke the bank for. And
yeah.
And I honestly speaking, now we're gonna be done with Chelsea. Yeah. I feel like I was looking at their transfers. Mykhailo Mudryk might be good. He might not be good. He looks like he could be good.
You've said that from the beginning. When everyone's been like, even myself, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this guy. You've always been like, nah, let's hold the horses for a bit. We've seen him in one Champions League highlight.
Yeah. Like he might be good. He might not be good. But I also look at the other 2 attacking players that we got that were basically free when compared to those weight, like what we paid for Mykhailo Mudryk. And I'm like, I think equally on the same page, Nani Madueke could also be really good. Like he has all the hallmarks of a really good player. So I think it's cool that we broke the bank for one, but we also found another winger for basically free that could also end up being really good. And it evens itself out where one has the pressure, the other one doesn't have the pressure, and they meet in the middle and they both could be good. But obviously for optics, you're going to want to go with the guy that you spent, $100 million on, and not the guy that you smuggled out of PSV. And then also, I think Didi Fofana also looks really good. He might be able to just be the striker we never had. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. Zoop. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that was it. Because I'm with you. I think that, you keep Aubameyang, but anyway, that's moving on. We've spent hours on this in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. Let's move on to North London, man. Everton, Arsenal. What in the world?
It's interesting because I didn't know this stat. Obviously, our Arsenal couldn't beat Everton when they needed to last season, but I didn't know that Arsenal haven't beat Everton at home in the last 6 games, I think. It's a crazy stat. They just can't beat Everton away. Just like City will get there, I guess, eventually. But City lost to Tottenham tonight. Pep has he can't beat Tottenham at home at White Hart Lane or whatever it's called now. So Arsenal looked like you got to give credit to Everton, but Arsenal looked so bad. Like I remember thinking, I was like, this looks familiar. Yes, this looks like Arsenal of like 2 years ago. It's not how they've looked this whole season. They've looked much better than this game. And I mean, you might call me a hater or whatever, but I don't think Everton played outstanding, but they did have that new manager shine, and whenever that new manager comes in, you got that glow and you got to work extra hard. So
was that Deitch?
Yeah. So yeah. And Deitch actually knows how to play against Arsenal, but luckily for Arsenal fans around the world, City also dropped points, so it's still 5 points of the game in hand. Grace was like, there just must be something, a blip in the matrix, because Arsenal lost to Everton, City lost to Tottenham, but you win some, you lose some. At this point, Arsenal still have more points than the Invincibles had, which is wild.
Yeah. Okay, well let me ask you a different question. Well, first off, I want you to respond to a meme. I'm sure you probably saw it. People were calling Jorginho the secret agent. Did you see these tweets?
No, I didn't.
Or these Instagram posts? They said it was an inside job. He went to Arsenal to prevent them from winning the league. Because as soon as he was subbed into the game, that's when they conceded.
That's when they conceded.
So people like Jorginho just went to Arsenal to make sure they don't win the league.
I said every Chelsea player does. Willian did the same thing. Peter Cech did the same thing. David
Luiz,
the king of red cards. It's like, who wanted more red cards? Him or
he was probably the biggest culprit.
No, it was just bad. William Saliba. I mean, Willian was just like, I'm not feeling it. I'm good.
No. Well, bro, you look at him, and so obviously at Chelsea, he won he won probably 15 trophies at Chelsea. He was great for Chelsea. Goes to Arsenal again. He's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I just want my kids to finish the school year. I'm not really trying to play for you guys. Goes back to Brazil, plays for Corinthians for a season and a half. Now he's in Fulham. Looks like he wants to play football
again. He's looking great. Yeah.
He's like a man. He's like a man reborn. He's giving Chelsea the business every other day, getting assists, playing looks like he's 27 again. But anyway, that's the point is, Chelsea players don't play for Arsenal when they go there.
Even Didier Drogba said that. He had a tweet last year. It was or 2 years ago, maybe with David Luiz, and it was thank you, Agent Luiz, for fulfilling your job. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
And so that's what we, on our Instagram, we posted. I was like, this has never. When was the last time this ended well for Arsenal? I can't remember when the last time was that they bought someone from Chelsea. The other way around works. Darude went to Arsenal.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Cesc won a Champions. Did he win a Champions League at Arsenal? I mean, at Chelsea, or did he just win the league? FA Cup.
He just won the league. Yeah, okay. Cesc won the league. Obviously, Ashley Cole won it all.
Ashley Cole won everything. Yeah. So anytime, I mean, going back to what's his name, it's really never worked for us. William Gallas, like that. He came to Arsenal.
Oh yeah, Gallas. Yeah, That's right. Yeah, he won it all. Then he walked away.
It's never worked for us.
That's right. I forgot. That's back in the early 2000s.
So I'm just like, why?
That's funny.
Why? And let me just, I guess, finish up by saying this, because we also talk about Arsenal a ton, but I'm not Jorginho. We talked about this a while ago. Like there was rumor when Thomas Partey was still in Atletico that Arsenal was going to get Jorginho or something, and you guys were going to get Thomas Partey. As it turned out, Arsenal gets Partey. The first 2 years, he's not good. Meanwhile, Jorginho's finishing third in Ballon d'Or, winning Euros, winning Champions League. And then we get this. And then Partey's really an incredible player, but he's finally kind of coming to. And now we get Jorginho when he's 31 years old, probably tired, not ready to give his all.
Yeah, running less than he did when he was supposed to be in his prime.
Yeah. So I wasn't extremely happy. I think he still got it, but he still got it for Chelsea. For Arsenal, this never works out.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess before we move on, so I mean, obviously, Arsenal still top of the table despite losing to a relegation contender. I don't know if we said this on camera or not, but Man City blew it. Their opportunity to make up some ground. They couldn't beat the Spurs. Antonio Conte came through.
And
did you guys a huge solid. I bet that was an awkward situation to be in.
What?
You got to root for the Spurs. Were you rooting for the Spurs today? Be honest.
This is not the first time that the thought has crossed my mind this season. So, yeah, it was definitely one of those times where I was like angry, and I was hoping that maybe an Argentine would have scored the goal, but instead he got red carded and he was sent off. So Tottenham still held down the win with 10 men, but Harry Kane is now Tottenham's all-time leading goal scorer, albeit in more games than what's his name. But, still looks like an old man, even though he's still technically in his 20s. At the halftime, they were like, still in his 20s. I'm like, how is this dude still in his 20s? He's moving like he's 67, but he's 29.
Been moving. He been stiff forever.
Yeah.
Okay. So look at this. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Okay.
Arsenal's next 2 games: Brentford at home, Man City at home. Okay, both the games are within 4 days of each other. One's on Saturday, then they play Man City that same Wednesday. How does that make you feel? Will they still be at the top of the table come next Thursday, or 2 Thursdays from now?
I think they will, yeah, because I think that it's you sometimes when you get a loss, it helps kind of fuel you a little bit. The downside is sometimes when these Arsenal, well, not this year because they've only lost now twice, but in the past when these losses come, they come in streaks for Arsenal. Like the end of last season, they just needed to win a game and they lost like 3 of the last 4 or whatever. So hopefully history doesn't repeat itself. But I think that, Brentford is tough, and I love seeing this Brentford team play and win and compete. But Arsenal has to win. They have to. I think that if they're going to be taken seriously, then they're going to, I think they'll still be on top after they play Man City. Do I think they'll beat Man City? No.
Okay.
Do you? What do you think? I think they'll beat Brentford, and I'd be happy with a Man City draw.
Yeah, I could see them beating Brentford. I could also see Brentford beating them.
Yeah.
As far as the Man City game goes, I can't see but one winner.
Who?
Shish. I honestly think Arsenal will beat him. I feel like Pep Guardiola is gonna be like, yo, this is my ex. It's my ex-assistant. We already beat him in the Carabao Cup, or maybe it was the FA Cup, but it was only 1 goal by a halfback. We got to go all the way in. So he's gonna overthink it. He's gonna mess it up.
It's a good point, because
3-0.
Why does 3-0? 3-0 is the prediction. 3-0 is the prediction from Blam. I'm going to write that down right here. So why does Pep do this? Why does Pep, for example, not start De Bruyne against Tottenham tonight? Why does what does he do this for? Why is he like this?
I don't think anybody knows why he's making these why he continues to make these bad decisions during big games.
Yes.
It's like he almost it's like he's crippled. Just pick Kevin De Bruyne. We don't need him. We don't need him. Should we play the same formation we've been playing the entire tournament, and we're right about to win the championship or the Champions League?
Can't do it.
Let's mix it up. They'll be expecting that so they'll be ready to play against us. Yeah, that's the whole point, Pep. Everyone knows what you're playing and they still can't beat you. They only beat you when you play something they aren't expecting.
He beats himself. He beats himself.
Yeah, exactly. It's anyway, yeah, so I wouldn't be worried. I feel like it's always the teams that have something to prove that pose the biggest threats to the champ, the team that's at the top of the team.
Yeah, like Arsenal and everything.
Not saying they'll always win. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's they have so much more to lose than you, and you're also focused on what you have to win. But I don't know. I just feel like it's always hard to beat like those relegation teams. It's like they're in relegation, but it's like almost like the brand of football, like the top of the table teams play, is too silky and too like dignified for those bottom of the table teams. So they just like kind of like just mess everything up for them. They're like, you're supposed to. It's like they're almost like their lack of discipline and their lack of like wherewithal helps them, because like they don't do the things that you would expect your opponent to do when they're like in this position. They do the opposite. It's like, oh, we didn't think they were gonna do that, and then like they have like a quick goal. Yeah, it's like, dang.
I mean, maybe we can talk about this at a different time, because I know we're trying to be somewhat brief on this one, but that's kind of my opinion about Granit Xhaka. I know that that's a very unpopular opinion as an Arsenal fan to like really like this guy. I've liked this guy since Arsene Wenger. But I have my opinion as to why he was so prone to the red cards. Just like I have a weird conspiracy that Arsenal won't sign Nike players. Just look at it. When was the last Nike player they signed? In fact, every Nike player leaves when they get there. And now we got Martin Odegaard still on the last colorway of the Mercurials, and I'm afraid that he's gonna leave too. So I mean, this is a weird conspiracy that like don't need to spend much time on. I could, but
I mean, I feel like if we're gonna take the conversation that way, let me tell you how I feel about the conspiracy. Because it would make sense. Nike has a presence, a pretty stinking big presence in London.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs,
Chelsea,
once upon a time, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, Arsenal.
Forever, 20-something years.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Like it was like all I knew for the longest time. Like was, I mean, obviously I knew Adidas Arsenal first, but then Nike for like my entire like teens and early 20s. Yeah, dude, because like they just barely, because they signed that Puma deal probably around like probably 2014.
I think 14, 15, maybe
15, 14.
Even, maybe even before that. 13, 14.
It was a short. Well, I feel like it was a very short-lived contract.
Yeah, it was a one series or whatever of contract, and then off to Adidas.
Okay.
Who's already renewed them?
Weird. Anyway. Oh, they did.
Yeah. But even like, I mean, again, like I know we don't have to get super far into this, but like Hector Bellerin, huge Nike athlete. Adidas or Nike signs, Arsenal signs to Puma. He goes to Puma, leaves. I think that Hector Bellerin's greatest performances were in Nike. Then after his Puma contract ended, he dabbled and like had some Nikes with good performances in there. Then he went to Mizuno. Then I don't know. I could do like a whole episode on this, but I know that's not what we're trying to do right now. But yeah, it's a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, if we're talking contracts and boots and athletes, yeah, Arsenal. But I mean, it's intriguing. But have you been seeing what's happening with Vinicius Jr. and his Nike contract?
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
I think that Nike is kind of now. It's funny because his big beef is that he's not being represented well enough by Nike.
Yes,
and so he's like, I'm gonna still.
Yeah, he wasn't in the World Cup commercial.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, and okay. Like you just started performing. Like a year and a half ago, your boy Benzema was telling players not to pass you the ball. So I mean, I get that you're upset and you have every right to be upset, but I think it's just childish. I think it's one of these like trophy syndrome things. It's like, but what I think Nike's doing that's really funny is the last two ads that I've seen about these new Phantom GXs have both been by Real Madrid players, and they're not, and I never see Nike like athletes repped by, or Madrid athletes that wear Nike on a Nike ad, unless it was obviously Ronaldo. So Tchouaméni.
Was it Camavinga and Tchouaméni?
So three actually, because Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Rodrigo, the Brazilian. So Nike's like, that's fine. We'll just pick these around you. We'll just do your boys instead of you still. You can get upset.
Dude, I didn't even connect the dots because the one I saw the most was the Aurelien Tchouaméni. I was like, yo, he's a star. I love that boy.
Yeah.
I didn't even think, oh, this is shots fired because Vinny is going through it right now, and he wishes he doesn't.
He wants to be that boy.
that shoe, but he wants to be that guy. Yeah, it's like it's not a problem. Like maybe and I mean I don't know. I mean it's like all I can say is like I think Nike. I mean, how do you? I don't even know what I'm saying. Like, can't you just? I don't know. Like, if someone said to him, like, if Nike said, "Hey, Vinny, listen, like, obviously we've had a relationship with you since you were like 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You scored, in a Champions League final. You had the best season of your career. We already have somebody representing Brazil in this commercial. He just so happens to be one of the greatest players to ever play the game and has a Ballon d'Or to his name. So he's going to be the person that we have representing Brazil in this commercial. You're a bright star. You'll have plenty of other opportunities for campaigns, and we'll get like if your client's saying like I feel disgruntled because I'm not in campaigns, it's like fine, put him in a commercial or put him in a campaign like you put his teammates in a campaign. Like if that would make him happy, it's like if you're mad because you weren't in a World Cup commercial because Brazil was represented by Ronaldinho, it's like there's like so many Brazilians that are going to represent you in a World Cup commercial. Like Neymar would represent you if he was still for Nike.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Like they don't have multiple people from multiple countries. It's like I guess that's a lie. Virgil van Dijk and Edgar Davids was in the World Cup commercial. And I think Ronaldo and Ronaldinho were in there. And Ronaldo was in there twice. Oh, Vinny Jr.
Yes, you're right. But also, here's my thing with this is I just think it's silly that, I mean, we only know one side of it, right? I haven't heard, Nike tends to stay pretty quiet about these things as far as like publicity goes. Obviously, Vinny's being pretty loud about it and his agent and his lawyer being pretty loud about it. And he wants people to know that he's intentionally wearing a previous version. But I just don't think Nike really cares that much. Like, to your point, he had an incredible year, like a breakthrough season. And I don't know what the talks looked like about maybe getting the contract renewal or this and that or whatever. But I do think that Nike is in a bit of, we've talked about this before, like Nike's letting a lot of these athletes go. They're really being very particular about who they're choosing to represent, who they're letting to let go. Like, they easily were like, okay, Neymar, like you don't want us to do this in good faith little deep dive on you. You can leave, So my point with that is that Brazil is kind of the reason Nike is so prevalent in important in the footballing world, because that was the first big thing they went after was the Brazilian national team in the 90s. I've always felt it's almost sacrilegious when I see a Brazilian in Adidas, but it's getting more and more often and more frequent that we see Brazilian players not in Nike anymore. The first one I remember like big was Kaká. I was like, dang, it's crazy. Like every Brazilian's wearing Nike, but this dude's out here in Adidas. Now it's not the thing anymore. It used to be, I feel like they were held down by Nike and vice versa, but now it's very normal to see them in Adidas or Puma or whatever. So I'm wondering what their long-term plan is with this. Like, is it not because they're pulling out of South America in general. They're not with Boca Juniors. They were with them for nearly 30 years. There's like, they only sponsor like 2 teams in South America. So
Corinthians and like Nacional from Colombia are the only two I can think of.
Yeah, unless they had one, I forget the Argentine club that was left standing after Boca, but that's probably gonna run out too.
Yeah.
They just want to be European. They want to be bigger in Europe, and that's where the money is. So it makes sense. But
which I mean, I mean, honestly, like, if I ran Nike's football department, I would do a lot of things differently. But I guess what I would say is, and I always compare like cleat deals to basketball deals. Like, in my opinion, like if you like, they have let's just say four shoes at one given time. They're marketing 4 shoes, like 2 variations of the Vapor, maybe 2 variations of the Phantom, and then a Tiempo. So anywhere from 4 to 5 different cuts. Yeah. As long as you have like who people perceive to be one of the best players wearing each one of those boots, that's all like, as far as like moving units, that's all you really need to sell those shoes. Like if I mean, for better or for worse, if Cristiano Ronaldo is the mercurial Superfly face, alongside Kylian Mbappe, no one else ever needs to wear a Superfly again for people want to wear the Superfly.
Yeah.
If that's the only two people that need to wear it. If you're trying to sell the Tiempo and it happens to be like back in the day, it was like Ronaldinho that would wear the Tiempo or Francesco Totti. Those are the only two people you need to wear the Tiempos for anyone to want to buy the Tiempos. Anybody else that you're paying to wear them, you're doing them a favor. Because it's like, like for example, like Joshua Kimmich might be somebody's favorite player. But when it comes down to it, Kevin De Bruyne is the face of the Phantom Vision shoe.
Totally.
He is the reason that most people want to wear that shoe, would wear that shoe. I'm not saying he's the only one, but like, what I mean? Like you have these stars and it's like, it's like we don't, like Vinny, like you're great. You're a good player, but like we don't need you to sell the Mercurial. Like as good as you are, like people are always going to buy the Mercurial. Like until someone's better than Kylian Mbappe, they're going to buy this shoe because of Kylian Mbappe. If they ever sign Erling Haaland on a full-time contract and he decides he wants to wear the Vapor variant instead of the Superfly, he's the only person that needs to wear it. Everyone else, it's like you need, like I just feel like you need to understand where you are in that hierarchy. And I feel like it's easier to like point out in American basketball because like all of those players get their actual own signature shoe instead of just getting like a special color every 3 or 4 months that says it's for them to like say like I am the face of Nike basketball. And it's like, okay, like Jason Tatum, like, yeah, like you're, you wear Jordans, but like you're not the face of Jordan brand. So like if you don't want to, take the $1 million we give you every season, that's fine. Yeah. Like we know at the end of the day, it's going to be like Zion Wilson and Luka Doncic that are like carrying this brand for us. They're the superstars. Like you're really good and you're also an all-star, but like kids want to be like, for better or for worse, they want to be like Zion and Luka. Jason Tatum, you're really good, but no, like kids typically don't want to be like you. So like we don't care what you think. We don't care that you're number one in the East. That's all. I feel like I've talked too much.
No, you're good. I just want to say as well that like Nike is essentially, they make incredible athletic gear and boots. Like that's all you and I really wear, aside from your shirt you got on right now. But they're a marketing agency essentially. Like they pretty much are, and they were the ones that made the decision when you mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo 15 years ago, and so Messi and Ronaldo were wearing Nikes at the same time, and they decided, you know what, this Ronaldo kid is way more marketable than this Messi kid, and as far as marketing goes, no question was that the right decision. Messi's I love him to death, but he's just an awkward guy. And for as much as I love him and most of the world loves him, I think that people still prefer to wear whatever Ronaldo's wearing. He's just more marketable. And it'll be the same thing with Mbappe. And that might be why this Haaland decision is so weird. And he's in Phantom's training and then Mercurial's on the pitch. I don't know if Nike's like, hey, like we have Mbappe right now, and for a very long time we'll have Mbappe. So you can either choose to wear this and not be the face, or here, try these Phantoms or whatever. Like De Bruyne is 31, 32 years old now. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like, you're right. Nike has had this thing locked down for a long time, and they know who's going to probably succeed Mbappe, or maybe they're already looking for the person that will succeed Mbappe in 10 years time or whatever it is, just like Mbappe is succeeding Ronaldo right now. So in my opinion, like for me, I wouldn't wear whatever Vinny's wearing. I'm, old, and I'll still like, yo, Mbappe's wearing that, let me get that. Oh, Mbappe has that Nike sweatsuit, let me find that sweatsuit. It's different.
There's levels to it, and he just needs to like realize, like, I mean, I'm not telling like people what to do, but like you're making millions playing for Real Madrid, and Nike's happy to pay you millions, and like you didn't get put in a commercial. Like almost, my response is almost, who cares?
Yeah, like 20-something guys also didn't get put in that commercial, dude. Your teammates,
you're like. Rodrigo wasn't in the commercial. Obviously, Rodrigo, people, consider him to be a better prospective talent. But right now, Vinny's obviously ahead of him in the pecking order. But still, he's a great Brazilian player that wasn't featured in the commercial. Let's think. Rafinha, I mean, you could argue he's not performing either, but he wasn't in the commercial. Who else? I mean, you said it. Most of the Brazilian team plays in Nike, even though they're leaving more and more. But there's like, I feel like I
Well,
should be able to
Rafinha's
think
an
of
Adidas,
another.
right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, and
Adidas.
now Neymar's in Puma,
Jesus is
and
Adidas.
what'd you say?
Gabriel Jesus.
Jesus is Adidas.
Gabriel Jesus
Martinelli
is
is
Adidas.
Adidas. The keeper
Yeah,
Ederson is now
something like
Puma.
that.
Like these are
Puma,
all
Thiago Silva,
previous Nike
Puma.
guys. Martinelli was a Nike, was a Mercurial guy. Obviously, Ederson wore, I think the seat, I forget what it was, but he was in whatever the
Yeah, he was
Phantom was.
Nike.
Yeah, he was Nike for a long time too. So these other companies are coming from it, and obviously you got to understand that Nike knows what they're doing. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, okay. Well, I feel like we're probably cool on the boot
no, but that was good.
contracts
I'm
and
glad you brought that up.
the brand deals. But
Well, so just to end this, who do you think? Who do you, tonight? Jack Grealish was in blacked out boots. He's been spotted in a
he's
bunch of
next up.
Pumas. Is he going to Puma? And where's Holland going to do?
Yeah. So Jack Grealish. I mean, Jack Grealish is up. Okay. He's probably up for the same reason where Nike's like, okay, like you've gone to Man City to play. They're a Puma club. You haven't exactly been lighting it up the way that, we thought you would. You especially haven't lit it up to the point where like kids want to be Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like you look at the City team, like who do kids want to be on the City team? Erling Haaland. Kevin De Bruyne. That's like, as far as marketability goes, that's probably it. Nobody wants to be Bernardo Silva. Maybe, I mean, I'd say Riyad Mahrez also kind of has that factor about him, where like he might be.
He's got that cool factor, yeah.
Yeah, like he's
Phil Foden even has a bit of that. Not for me, but for some people.
I forgot. Yeah. Phil Foden's way more marketable than Jack Grealish. Infinitely. Like Jack Grealish, I mean, he's a cool guy too, but I mean, in terms of like what Nike would be looking for, definitely Phil Foden fits the look that they have. Like Jack Grealish is like a pretty boy.
Let Grealish be Gucci and let Foden stay on those Phantoms.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, I love Phil Foden. Shout out to Phil Foden. That's my dog. I love Phil Foden so much. Anyway, so Jack definitely, he's out. Nike's not renewing him. He'll go to Puma.
Okay.
And then who else did you bring up?
Holland, because he's still technically not signed with Nike
yet, who's he gonna
but he's still always in the Nikes. Latest ones now, I mean, different colorway, but still the Vapors. It's not a super fly
I hope
guy
he
either.
just
he's
go,
a Vapor guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he should just go Vapor.
Yeah, same.
Like, just go Vapor. So what if the person that you're going to be like in contention with for the next 10 seasons is also wearing the same, shoe with you, except his has a collar. Like, it's fine. Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's all good. Erling, don't play yourself. Because the thing is, and here's the other thing. Like, I was looking at now we're talking about boots. I was looking at the the new generation of Predators that Adidas put out this season, which actually like the ones that or I think Predators, like whatever, like the midfielders wear.
Yeah.
And I was like, they actually, like this year they look really good, but like last year I was like, they were a miss. But like with Nike, every year it's always consistently there's never a drop off. Like either it's the same and they just like rebrand it, or they make like an improvement that actually contributes to the shoe. Where it's like Adidas every year, like the Predator is like a completely different shoe.
It's so weird.
It's like the Phantoms that are coming out. Yeah, like the Phantoms that just came out now are the exact same shoe as like the Phantom Venom GTs that came out 5 years ago. They just keep naming them different things, but it's like if you look at the shoe, it's the same shoe.
And they got a grip tech thing changed now. It's like kind of but it's literally you're right. It has the laces are covered. It's got that like sock thing lining over it. Like it's the same. It's the same.
The ghost shroud. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same shoe. And I'm like, it's fine. Like they make like there's some tweaks, but it's like it's not categorically a different. Like you look at the old Predator to the new one, it's like you can kind of tell because they have like the rubber elements on it that it's supposed to be a Predator, but it's like, bro, this is like my game is going to be completely different because of this. And it's like, why no one wants to adapt to like a new cleat every season or like halfway through the season, like, oh yeah, like it's 2018, 2000, or like cause they switch from year to year. So it's like halfway through the season, I'm playing a completely different shoe. That sounds crazy. Anyway,
yeah,
that's all I got. Man.
The new Predator does look good. I will say that it looks better with laces, though. I like Adidas. I don't know. Their stuff to me looks better with laces. I know that like highest end stuff or whatever Pogba wears usually doesn't have laces, but
the Plus series is laceless. Yeah. They look mad ugly. They look mad ugly. Mad ugly. Yeah, you got to put laces. Yeah. All right, bro. Well, I think that's probably enough on the boot talk. What else we got on the docket?
I think that for me, okay. So I did want to talk about this just because we've been talking about it kind of recently. So Bayern Munich back to winning ways. You know, they were hurting after that World Cup. It looked like there you go. They couldn't get a clean sheet. Well, I guess they still can't get a clean sheet, but they couldn't get a win. They could barely score any goals. So what did those? A 4-1 today, right?
Yeah. They let 2 in. They let another one in. It was 4-2.
Okay.
Wolfsburg, man. Yeah, they're back. They aren't as tight as they need to be. They're not as tight as they need to be, but they're winning again.
You think they're going to win the league?
That's why I love watching them play. Yeah, for sure. I think is it Borussia Dortmund's in second, and I think they get back by like maybe 8 points or something.
So right now it's Bayern, Union Berlin, and then Dortmund. But Dortmund was in 6th like 2 weeks ago. So for them to be in 3rd, just 2 points behind Union Berlin and 3 points behind Bayern. So that's actually, I know that I talked trash on them a couple weeks ago, and I kind of hate on the German league now and then, but this is actually a really exciting season to be a Bundesliga fan.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I didn't realize it was that close. Last time I looked, it was a little bit of a different gap.
Yeah.
But even RB Leipzig looks like they could have a run at it. Because Bayern. I mean, they won, but they're not back to their old self.
No.
And I think it's also, I mean, like shout out, they were able to get João Cancelo on loan for the end of the season. That was big.
They're gonna buy him.
That's big.
They're gonna buy him.
They would be smart to do that, bro. Like replace Benjamin Pavard. Are you kidding me? You can sign João Cancelo.
Talk about an upgrade.
That's a come up, bro. Like that might have been the signing. Like I know Chelsea did some business, but if I'm keeping it 100, that was the signing of the January transfer window.
Yeah.
Like arguably one of the best right backs.
No
probably
question.
The best right back.
I think he is.
Like I say is he was probably the best right back in the league last season.
Yeah, he is for me.
It's like so shout out to him. I wonder what went wrong with him and Pep though.
I know because they're both.
I don't understand. Yeah. Like, was it legitimately just like, I'm trying to, like, it's like, bro, like, you're the best, but, like, the team's also the best, so we got to, like, get some other people some time so they can get up to speed. And he's like, I don't want to share my time with no kid. And he's like, well, you can go to Bayern Munich then, because you'll definitely play over Benjamin Pavard.
Yeah, no question.
That's not a question. That's not even, like, that's not a question anybody's asked. Like, as soon as Ben saw it, he was like, all right, yeah, I guess Cancelo's farting over me. Should I give him my shirt? Now I'll wear the number 22.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good. It's good for German football. I think it's good for football fans everywhere. I hope that Dortmund can make a move though. I really would love to see. They're 3 points behind. They're a win and then a Bayern loss away from being level on points. So personally, I want
that would be crazy.
Dortmund, but then the other
that would be crazy.
Like speaking of tight races, obviously it's tight in the Premier League, but Serie A, aside from Napoli being 12 points clear.
They ran away with it.
Yeah. Those 3 Champions League spots are really tight. Like Roma, actually, if the season were to end right now, Roma's in. I think Inter's out, right? Or AC Milan actually is out.
Yeah.
But Inter's in.
No, is Inter in? I thought Inter was still, are they 4th?
Let me make sure right now. So right now, as it stands, obviously Napoli's winning. Inter is 2nd. Roma's 3rd. Lazio is 4th. But Roma's played an extra game, so hopefully Lazio loses. Okay. But yeah, Milan is in 5th right now.
It's all good.
You know what? When it happened, though?
Napoli's winning the league.
Napoli's, yeah. But ever since, and this is another conspiracy, I don't know why I'm like this. I'm not like this, but I just love boots this much. I love Leão. You know that he switched over to Nike, been wearing them classic boots for the last couple weeks. Nikes.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched a Milan game in a long time. Has he been wearing Nikes?
He was an Adidas guy forever, and suddenly he switched over to Nikes. Where's those, like those, those Pantone color block ones from like Euro?
Oh, yeah, Euro 2012.
He was wearing them.
Yo, those are my favorite materials of all time.
No question. No
Yeah,
question.
those were clean, dude. The whole pack was clean, but those Makiras with like that pink, the pink, black, and white, those are hard.
Yeah, but they've lost their last two and then drew their two before that, so they've been on a rough spell. But I just want Roma to make Champions League. And the last time Rome was in Champions League was Chad and I went to a game in amazing environment. So I really want Roma back in Champions League. But obviously Napoli has got this. Victor Osimhen is the most underrated player in Europe, I think. I don't even know how to say his name properly. That's how underrated he is. I don't even know if I'm right. Yeah.
Osimhen? I call him Osimhen, but I don't know. He's a baller though. Yeah. They say he's coming to Chelsea this summer.
It just wouldn't surprise me, you know?
Yo, I mean, yeah, you say that, you're like, yeah, he might. How much they want? 200? They'll get it done.
Because he'll be able to score, but I don't know. He'd break that number 9 curse for sure. Probably still come with the mask on.
Nah, bro, we'll find a way to destroy his career. We will, believe me. Chelsea will find the next striker that we have has to cost less than 40 million. The next successful Chelsea striker will cost less than 40 million. That's the only way it has to be. That's how it has to be. He won't be from the academy, and he won't be more than 40 million pounds.
That's actually a good point.
That's the only way it's gonna work.
Chelsea should look for someone that's. Everybody's like, what? That's who they should be looking for right now. They shouldn't be going for a Victor Osimhen or a Haaland or I don't know, Mbappe or they shouldn't, because you're right. They're gonna
get a guy. And what they got to do is they got to get the guy no one knows about, and they got to buy him like through like a shell company. Because if they see it sell Chelsea, they'll raise the price.
Yeah.
So you just got to be like kind of like, I think it was, I can't remember who it was. Like this last transfer window, somebody had like an affiliate club buy a player, and then they loaned that player to the parent club, like to get around financial fair play. I can't remember.
It's like a Man City move.
Oh, it's definitely a Man City move. Man, like with Frank Lambert, they're like, yo, you're going to go play for NYCFC and go directly to Manchester City on loan. Do not report. Don't leave the country. Okay. Well, bro, before we get out of here, then, it sounds like we're about to wrap up. Question is, PSG Champions League coming up. Messi had, an outstanding game in the absence of his friend and rival. Champions League, who do they have in the Champions League? Is it
Bayern?
Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
It's Bayern Munich. That's why I wore this to be Messi. Shout out to Messi. Can they beat Bayern Munich with an injured Kylian Mbappe and Neymar? Can Messi and the supporting cast beat Bayern Munich? Although it's a weak Bayern Munich?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely they can. But in all the years that I've been following PSG, obviously they've only been these like super teams in the last 12 years or so. But this is one of the weakest. I feel like they don't have as much depth as they have in the past, or like as a Man City has, or obviously as a Chelsea have. But I think that this has to be their year. I just think there's something that PSG have to do. If Mbappe is out against Bayern Munich, that's going to be tough. I still think that they can win. I just don't think they will. I don't know. PSG is cursed in the Champions League. Everyone, it was Mbappe, it was Neymar being hurt every season, getting deep in the Champions League. Now it's Mbappe. Yep. Like, that's not a good look. That's not a good omen.
Yeah.
Messi's been handled a couple times by Bayern Munich in his Barcelona days, so this is not what he wants to see.
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, he got handled. That was bad.
He has obviously had his share of revenge on them, specifically in the name of Jerome Boateng. But lately, Bayern Munich has had PSG's number and Barca's number. But I don't think, obviously, they're not as good of a team as they've been these last couple of years. But I think that it's going to be tough for PSG to get past the fact that Mbappe is not there. And is Neymar hurt too? Because he didn't play yesterday either.
Yeah, no, they're both injured.
Golly. Are they both going to be back? Because they say Neymar is probably missing this. I mean, Mbappe is probably missing this game. But is Neymar going to be back for it or no?
You never know. I mean, I'm guessing Neymar will be back, but that might be like his first game back.
So I'm going to make the call right now. I think that Mbappe is going to surprise everyone and come back for this game. And I think that if he's on, if they're going to beat him, that they're going to beat him this leg.
Okay, you heard it here first.
The problem is that these
fully.
Do you want away goals to count worth more like they used to, or no?
I don't know that I'm decided on whether or not I'm for or against the away goal.
Yeah,
it's like it's always great to like give like the away team like a reason to like take the game to them and not just sit back. But you know, like I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, it made for some really, I'll say this, it made for some really entertaining matches while it was still in effect. Okay. A lot of things would have never happened without an away goal or, you know, in those aggregate matchups. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to, I don't want to say yes or no. Cause I mean, all I can say is it's 50-50 because it's entertaining with it, but it's just as entertaining without it, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
But last thing, Hakim Ziyech was supposed to go to PSG. I bet they're even more upset now that like I don't know if they knew that did they know Mbappe was hurt?
No,
or did they
Mbappe
play
got hurt
a game
just recently after
the window shut? Okay, because I'm like. That sucks because like they're like we could have had like an adequate winger for the French league at least, and one that's also proven in the Champions League. Champions League award winner Hakim Ziyech. You know that could have been big for them to like close out their season, bring him over on loan. Yeah. I still can't believe we're not gonna talk about that. I mean, it's a shame that they dropped the ball.
Well, like that's So do you blame Chelsea too? Because
so disrespectful.
Everything that I read is like, Chelsea was not answering their phone calls. They didn't answer the emails, and they sent back the thing unsigned
after the deadline, basically. Which I'm like, if that's really what happened, like that's what PSG is saying. I feel like I heard from Chelsea's correspondents, they said we sent the correct paperwork, but they said we sent the correct paperwork at like 11:04, and I'm like.
Yeah, it was over already.
So was the window closed? Yes. Or like there's a time difference between Paris and London.
Yeah.
So like what happened?
Yeah.
But also at the same time, like this is the other thing. I'm like, why do you leave the business to the end of the window? It's like Ziyech PSG. If you want to do business together, and the window closes on the 31st, like why? Not come there on the 30th.
Yeah.
I just don't know why it was left like a loan move for a player that you're not enamored with. I feel like that's a no-brainer. Like you could have went in January 3rd. Like why didn't you just you had all month? This wasn't like a complex deal. This was just a loan from a team that was allegedly happy to allow you to go on loan. Why did you wait so long?
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a lot of blame to go around, but like ultimately like now I sound like I'm carrying Chelsea's water, and I probably am a little bit. If Chelsea are going to be focusing all of their attention on making a Premier League record-breaking signing, why do you think PSG, Hakim Ziyech, why do you think they're going to take that deal took them like 20 hours to close? Why are they going to walk away from that deal
to finish
to help
this?
Like something that's against their interest? Like letting Hakim Ziyech go is against their interest. Like they're like, yeah, we don't want to play you, but like if something goes wrong, we're already paying you. So like you're another capable winger in a list of capable wingers or uncapable wingers that can come off the bench. So like why are we going to prioritize making you leave when we're like throwing all our resources at getting Enzo to the club? Like you should have came to us when we weren't busy.
Yeah.
Like we don't care. They're ultimately, it's like they're saying we don't care. We're dealing with something way more important right now. And I'm like, yeah, like bro, like you, like if you're asking a club to go on loan, you should know like you aren't the priority. So why would you think they would put you before?
Yeah, but just to contrast that a bit, like you're right, definitely last minute. But last minute deals happen, obviously. Like record breaking literally was a last minute deal for Enzo. But it just Sky Sports broke it down, like you saw. like they had records of the phone calls that PSG was making unanswered to Chelsea, and then they sent the email back of the paperwork. First time was unsigned, so it wasn't valid. And then you're right. By the time they sent it back again, signed, it was 2304. Like the window's closed already. But yeah. I mean, PSG, if you know you want them that badly to the point where you're now coming out publicly and being like, they're never gonna dirty our doorstep or whatever with they come for him a day earlier, even, you know, like if it was that important, you'd have come earlier.
Because what's unclear, because we all read the same reports. What's unclear to me is when they say we came, or we were calling. It's like, who were you calling? Were you calling Ted Boley and his co-owner?
No
were
idea.
You calling them on their cell phones? Were you who were you calling Chelsea's contact us number off of chelsea.co.uk?
Instagram
what
DMs.
Number were you DMs? What number were you calling? That's important. If you were if it was Arsenal, you would be like, what's it? Is it Edu?
Yeah.
I called Edu and he didn't answer my phone call. Okay, that's pretty damaging. It's I was calling Todd Boley. He didn't pick up his phone. Well, obviously he didn't pick up his phone because he was on the phone with somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I say that, but I also say that knowing that they probably, if they would have just cared 5% more, they obviously could have made it happen, because
it could easily happen.
You could be negotiating with somebody and filling out someone else's paperwork for
4 minutes
a standardized loan.
Yeah. I feel for Ziyech because he would have played in Paris, and I don't think he's going to play. I mean, he started Friday, right?
Well, I think that was a consolation. Bro, we're going to try to make you feel important. Go prove you can do something. Oh, we couldn't score against Fulham. You're back on the bench.
Yeah, he's not playing much anymore.
Step aside. We're letting Madueke play, man. You're old news, man. You didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
Kick rocks. Shout out to Hakim Ziyech, though.
Yeah. That sucks for him, but yeah, it's football. It's transfers. Anyway, I hope that PSG win Champions League this season.
They won't. But I hope they do too. But they won't.
All right, it's been almost an hour.
All right. Yeah, so guys, we're going to wrap it up. We appreciate you hanging out with us, on the Brazil Football Podcast. We'll see you next week. Ciao. I don't know why I said ciao. 5711?